Hey family, what the fuck is up? Oh my god, I have missed you guys so very much. Like so much. How have you guys been? Man, it's been a minute. Like, let me know. How are you feeling? How are you feeling spiritually? How are you feeling emotionally? How are you feeling mentally? All of that. Let me know. You know, my Instagram, I really want to know. Like I say all the time, I really give a fuck about how you guys are doing, how you're feeling. Follow me on Instagram. Drop me a comment. Drop me a DM. AsiaDivine.asfuck. AYZHAH divine.af. Okay? I can't wait to hear from you guys, and I absolutely could not wait to sit back down with you all and get this podcast episode out because I have literally been receiving so many downloads from God, from the universe, from my ancestors, from my spirit team, from life, like in general, just receiving so many downloads and so many revelations that it's just like at this point bursting out of me. I have been intentionally doing the work of everything that I said that I wanted to accomplish or better. I have been being very intentional about making sure that I hold true to that and allow myself the space and room to allow it to be in my life, and allowing myself the space and room to allow those things to be in my life means that I have to be dedicated to it and constantly align myself with it, if that makes sense. But yes, I have been doing everything I can in my power, and that's a huge key phrase there. Everything in my power. If it's not in my power, I don't fuck with it. That's up to God. That's up to the universe. That is up to my spirit team. That's just simply up to whatever God has planned. Anything out of my control, I do not touch. I do not fuck with. I'm not doing that shit no more. Okay? I don't want to fuck nothing up. My job is to stay in my lane. Our job is to stay in our lane. So, like I said, I've been doing everything in my power to make sure that I'm showing up as my most healed self, to make sure that I am showing up as my most highest self, making sure that I flex and show off my wings, like these beautiful ass wings that I was blessed with. We went through that cocoon period last year. Well, let's call it a season. We went through that cocoon period last season. We're out of it. That's it. It might have been comfortable to stay there, but you cannot stay there forever. Out of the cocoon phase, now we are those butterflies that emerged from that cocoon, and now it's time to allow ourselves to fly. So, fly. That's what I've been doing. I want to know also, how are you showing up for yourself? Like, are you making sure that you are okay? What are you doing that feeds you? What are you doing that pours into your cup? You understand? How are you showing up in the world? How are you presenting yourself in this world? Are you walking a new step? Are you walking to a new beat? Or are you stuck in that old beat? How are you presenting yourself and showing up in this world? Are you taking up space like you are meant to? Don't diminish yourself. Don't dim yourself. Don't lessen yourself. Make sure that you are showing up and taking up space, because that is your purpose. A part of it. A huge part of it. Okay? I have also been doing really good at making sure I focus on the good. And I found that the more that I constantly check myself and check my thoughts at the door, making sure, like, as soon it's gonna sound crazy, but as soon as I have a bad thought, like, in order for me to quiet that thought, I really have to, like, verbally say, shut the fuck up. Like, I'm not even kidding. I will have, like, a really bad negative thought, and I come to myself, I stop the thought, and I literally have to say out of my mouth, loud sometimes, shut the fuck up. You have to quiet those thoughts. You have to quiet those negative thoughts. But I found that the more that I've been practicing to focus on the good, the easier it has become to do so, because I'm constantly and intentionally practicing this. And naturally, I found that the more that I focus on the good, the more the good gets better naturally, because what we put in is what we get out naturally. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And me being intentional about showing up for myself is all new territory, because before, in a past life, and I don't mean like thousands of years ago, I mean just like in my last season, before this new season that I'm in now, that was not how I operated. It was very stiff and controlling energy. Like, I had to be in control, even over the universe. And we all know that is just not possible, so you have to relinquish that control, whatever. So, being in this space of now knowing how to stay in my lane and relinquish control to the universe, and focusing on the good, and showing up for myself, and showing up as my most healed self, and showing up as my most high self, is new territory. And I saw a post that said, a familiar hell always seems more comfortable than an unfamiliar heaven. That is why we are not supposed to settle with comfortability, because that leads to stagnancy. And no, there's no room to grow over there. There is no room to grow in that familiar hell that is so comfortable and so cozy and so just the same and stagnant and unchanging. No, we have to have that room. We have to give ourselves room to grow. So yeah, right now I'm in my unfamiliar heaven. I'm in my unfamiliar heaven. I am in this place that is new to me. I'm in this place that I don't recognize, but it's good and it's better and it's giving and it's growing and it's good energy. You understand? Yeah. This healed place definitely is unfamiliar, which makes it scary, but you work through it. You stay in it. You keep going. You keep progressing. You stay to it and you stay committed to it, and take up space in this unfamiliar heaven and get comfortable there. Get comfortable there. So yeah, rant over. I'm doing well, y'all. I'm doing well. I took some days off of work because that's my business and I can do that, like Miss Tabitha Brown says. No, I needed some mental health days, and I needed some time to consecrate myself and to cleanse and renew my energy, to center myself and ground myself. And so it's been feeling really nice. Thank God for PTO. And definitely still working on my projects and my businesses, which gives me so much life. I'm really grateful to God for being in this space. With that being said, I wanted to kind of like touch on something before I get into our episode. And it ties into me showing up as my most highest self and how I'm showing up in the world, which we talked about just a minute ago. And the way that I am showing up as a practitioner, as a healer, as a spiritual worker, especially on a public platform, I don't want to be careful, quote unquote, anymore. I want to simply just be me. My practice involves a direct relationship with God. That means praying, that means listening, that means moving with the universe and working with my ancestors. That's what all that means to me, period. I pray and I align. I manifest and I align. I ask of God and of the universe, and then I align. And one of the ways of my aligning is working with what the universe gives, whether it be herbs, sticks, stones, bones, even, seriously, crystals, candles, whatever those tools of divination are, in order to create or bring about a certain energy that is in alignment and in flow with what I'm trying to manifest in the universe. I hope that makes sense. So with all of that being said, I'm no longer going to, like I said, be careful. And maybe that's a poor choice of word, but I'm no longer going to be careful, quote unquote, or tiptoe around talking about certain things that is true to me. I'm no longer worried about some people in this world not understanding on purpose, not because they truly don't know, but just truly not wanting to understand or believe in the way that I move in my practice. Because my practice is first for me, and then second for those who understand, want to understand, and aligns with it. So in other words, and I say this all the time, if it does not resonate, that is fine. Leave it where it is. If it ain't for you, it's okay. Leave it where it is. So this is me. This is me being intentional and standing on how I need to show up as my highest self, how I need to show up in the world, and how I take up space in this world. And this is how I'm going to do it. No more of this. I just had enough. I've had enough of this fuck shit of African traditional religions being demonized, because every way that I move spiritually comes from my ancestors. And I'm sick of it being demonized. No more of it. I'm freeing my spirit and my mind and my ancestors from the restraints of this lying ass society and the lies that it was built on. I'm decolonizing my mind and my spirit, and I pray to God that more of us begin to follow that path. If you choose not to, hey, there is nothing wrong with the decisions that you make for your life if you're making them in truth. I have nothing against it. Just like I pray that no one has nothing against what I choose to do. Either way, if you do, I love you, but I don't care. I don't care, because everything that I do comes from a good place. It comes from good intention, and everything that I do is by the leading of my ancestors and by the leading of my intuition and by the leading of God, for certain. Cool. All right. So now that we got that out of the way, which is, I just This is my unfamiliar heaven. This is a part of my unfamiliar heaven. Me standing in my truth, no matter what, no matter who, no matter where, no matter when, no matter any fucking thing. This is my unfamiliar heaven. It feels a little, weird. It feels very new. But this is exactly where I should be, if that makes sense. I want to tell you guys to not be fooled by your own mind, because I was psyching myself out thinking, well, if I continue to play it safe with my vision, which is a total no-no, because I was given my vision very, very clear. Very clear. And I was thinking, if I don't play it safe, I will not be able to resonate or reach anybody. And it became a fear. And no more of that. Don't be fooled by your own mind. Believe that you're walking in and walking towards everything you worked for, called in, and manifested in truth. In truth. Believe it. Come into that unfamiliar heaven, whatever that means in your life, however that means in your life, okay? So let's talk about manifesting with the moon. I remember being told by someone that we are not supposed to practice moon magic as Black people, and that we're only supposed to practice sun magic because of our melanin. And that could not be the most farthest thing from the truth. Totally, I've never heard anything so closed-minded. We are to work with everything that God gave us. The whole universe and everything in it. None of it is set apart for just one specific person or type of people or type of practice. We are to work with everything that God gave us. The sun and the moon even works together. We can't see the moon without the sun shining behind it. It's a yin and yang thing, and it's a light and dark thing. Our planets actually hold either masculine or feminine energy, depending on what it is. And the sun is actually masculine, and the moon is feminine. And I would love to get into the characteristics and attributes that makes the sun masculine and the moon feminine, but that would literally take another 10 minutes. I already tried, and I actually had to cut that audio because of time. And I really, really wanted to be able to have time to get into some of these moon workings and manifestations for you guys. But I'm always down for conversations and questions, or maybe I'll even post it for you guys on my social media. All right, so the new moon of February starts February 19 today, or the 20th, depending on your time zone. Before we come into our new moon, we are in waning phase. So this is the way that the moon phases go, in order. It goes from new moon to waxing, and that's waxing crescent and waxing gibbous, and then full moon, and then from full moon to waning gibbous and waning crescent. And after waning, we're back at new moon. So like I said, right now we're in waning phase. In waning phase, it's our time to reflect on what has been going on since the last lunar cycle. What's been going good, what hasn't been going good, what's been working, what hasn't been working. Our time to simply reflect. So the way that I work with waning is to journal. Very simple. I like to journal. I like to write everything down. Like I said, what has been working and what hasn't. During the days of the waning cycle, when you look up at it in the sky, you can see it going from its full phase to a smaller and smaller crescent until it's nothing like but a sliver of the moon. And because of this action of it going away or disappearing, the energy that comes with that is getting rid of or concealing or casting aside what no longer serves us. You can also think of it as endings and closures, or removing unwanted energy. And it's not necessarily about the energy outside of us. Like I said, it's about reflecting on our own cycle. So, journal. Get your journal out and start to write down your thoughts. Bring everything to the forefront of your mind and begin to reflect. How has everything been going since the last lunar phase, which was the full moon? How has your energy been? What was good for you? Write that down. What are some things that you would have done differently, or wished you would have done differently, or should have done differently? What are some things that you notice that you should not do anymore? What are some energies that you may have held that you noticed didn't feel good to you, or didn't work for your life or your path or what you're trying to align with? And like I said, this doesn't necessarily have to be energies outside of you, although it could. And if it is, then you definitely want to make sure that you are paying attention to that. Write it down. I remember when I was in college, my professor was trying to teach me how to be a better test taker because I'm really bad at taking tests. I just get so anxious. And he told me before the test, write down everything that is in my mind, all the thoughts, every single thing. It doesn't matter what it is, write it down. All my thoughts, all of my worries, write it down on paper. And he said that writing it down dumps it from the forefront of your mind. He called it a mind dump. So let's dump these things out. Put it on paper. Once we get it on paper, burn it. Waning phase is about getting rid of. It's about endings and closures. It's about removing what no longer serves us so that we can reach our higher purpose, right? While it's burning, gaze into the fire and really see those things and feel those things being cleansed and purified from you, from your spirit, from your life, from your energy space. And once that fire is done, once that paper is totally burned to ashes, let it go in the wind. Give it to the universe. Take some time to let your mind document how you feel in that moment. So here's an example. Farmers and those in agriculture burn their fields after a harvest. And they do this to remove the residue left in the field after harvesting. And the ashes actually fertilize the dirt in return. So they clear away and they fertilize at the same time. Think of the things that you wrote down and burned away from your life as the clearing away and the fertilizing of your soil. Clearing away makes space for new energy. You're clearing ground for new energy. This is confirmed by the following of the new moon right after waning. The new moon is all about manifesting the new. So we cleared away the old crops and we fertilized the soil, right? New moon is about the seed. New moon is about planting that seed in the fertilized soil. So we put our seed down in the soil, right? Where the seed is planted, it's dark. It's dark in the ground, right? Under that dirt. And makes sense because what we see when we look up at a new moon is complete darkness. You can barely even see it. It's void of light. Because on the other side of the moon, what we can't see is that it's being fully shined upon by the sun. The side that we see on the earth is literally the opposite side. It's dark. Like I said, this is like being buried to me. This is a time where we plant seeds. Technically, if you really do grow, this is actually the time to start getting your seeds in the ground, especially coming up on springtime. But this is the time for setting intentions. Our seeds are those intentions. Our intentions are those seeds. This is us getting ready to usher in new growth. This is your time to write down new manifestations, goals, plans, maybe make a vision board. Write on your mirror. I write on my mirror in the bathroom with a dry erase marker. And when you write down these new things that you're ready to usher into or call down into your life, write it down with the understanding that the universe and God and your spirit team and your ancestors has your back in helping attain or accomplish those things. Get into the energy of new beginnings, new projects, new friendships, new love, new connections of any kind. Write it down, plant those seeds. What I personally like to do is to write down all of the goals to be accomplished. These are my seeds. I'm writing my seeds down. And after I have it all written down, I open my planner and I write down the steps that I'm going to take to attain those goals. That's me aligning, right? You can't just write it down and wish a wish. That's not how it works. We plant the seed of hope and then we move with action. It takes both. It takes hope and it takes movement, okay? But after I get everything written down, I put it on my ancestor altar and I leave it there. If you don't have an altar, that's okay. Put it somewhere where you can see it every day so that you're reminded. Tape it on your mirror or put it on your refrigerator. If you have an office, put it on your desk. Put it somewhere where you'll see it every day. After new moon comes the waxing phase. Waxing is when the moon is growing larger. So we went from a seemingly empty or dark moon, right? A moon that was void of light. Now what we will begin to see is the moon increasing, growing. Now it's going from a little tiny sliver to a little bit bigger than that, and a little bit bigger than that, and bigger than that, and bigger than that, all the way until we get to a fully illuminated full moon, okay? In the waxing phase, this is all about increasing. This is the energy of increase. This is the energy of something growing, something becoming bigger. And if we think about that seed that we planted in new moon, this is where we will begin to see our seed sprouting. Now our seed has grown and broken its way out of that dirt and is seeing light now, right? And what do we do when we're growing something? We water it. We fertilize it. This is tending to it. This is putting energy into it, right? That's what the waxing phase is about. The things that we are calling into manifestation are within us, right? So we have to raise our vibration. We have to water ourselves. How do you do that? Well, one of the ways that I like to raise my vibration is by meditating. And sometimes I meditate with binaural beats. And meditation is not for everyone. Some other ways to raise your vibration could be by turning on some music that feels good to your soul, turning on some Affirmation music. One of my affirmation songs is Beyonce Formation. When I turn that on, I start singing that shit from my soul. I affirm all of that shit, right? Another way to raise your vibration, and one of my favorite ways to raise my vibration, is by praying. Praying. Let's never underestimate the power of prayer. Let's never underestimate the power of prayer, ever. Prayer is so powerful and so vital. So pray for the strength to continue to work towards all of the new moon manifestations that you're trying to attain. Pray. All of these things that we do in the waxing phase is to raise the vibration of what we're trying to manifest into our lives. All of these things that we do in the waxing phase is to water that seed or those seeds that we planted in the new moon. And this is the growth. This is the growing process. Like I said, the waxing phase is when our seed has sprouted and is now beginning to grow. It has come out of that dirt and it's growing slowly but surely, right? Okay. Last, we have the full moon. Now, the full moon is everybody's favorite. There's so much you can do with the energy of the full moon. Just like, honestly, there's so much that you can do with the energy of the new moon, waxing, and waning, but I wanted to keep it really simple. We can definitely get into the conversation another time or over our socials, whatever. But I just wanted to keep it simple for the purposes of time. And just kind of give you guys the ballpark of the ways you can work with these energies. Okay, so during the full moon, I do a lot. I do a lot of things. The full moon brings high energy, very magnified power. Have you ever seen or heard someone say, "Oh, people out here acting crazy as fuck, it must be a full moon"? Yes, the full moon has such magnified power that it changes our emotions. If you know a little bit about science, you'll know that the moon changes the tides of the ocean. And the ocean, obviously, is water. Now, water is a representation and reflective of our emotions. The water element is totally tied into and linked to our emotions. So that's why emotions tend to run high during full moons, because the energy is so magnified, right? The tides of our emotions are going crazy sometimes. So it's very good to center yourself. I cleanse all of my divination tools during the full moon. I actually take all of my crystals, all of my tarot decks, my spiritual jewelry outside, and I'll put in a salt circle. And I just let it moon bathe. I let it stay out there all night during the full moon. And I let it charge. I also open my windows and put my plants in the windowsill so that they can receive some of that good charging and cleansing energy, right? There's a lot that comes with the full moon. The full moon is very healing. It is very cleansing. It's very prophetic. This is a time where you can meditate and tap in, or pray and tap in easier, because emotions are heightened. And our emotions are closely linked to our intuition and our third eye. So we're able to receive answers from our spirit team, from God, quicker and without static. The full moon is also about the closing out of, or letting go of. It's about the ending of cycles. This is usually a good time to do some intentional cord cutting work if you're ending some kind of relationship, whether romantic or friendship or whatever. It's a good time to set your intention to cut those cords and soul ties. This is also where we want to think about the seeds that we planted in new moon and watered and raised the vibrations of in waxing, because at this point, what we've planted has now grown to its full self and is now ready to be harvested. Now, this can be a tricky thing, but not too tricky, because sometimes all of the things that we are trying to manifest doesn't happen so quickly. It might not happen in one lunar cycle. It might take another lunar cycle, and that is okay. At that point, if the manifestations have not come to fruition yet, let's take some time to reflect and get ready for the new cycle. I love taking time to reflect during full moons. The way that I do this is by taking a full moon ritual bath. It is one of my favorite things to do. Like I said earlier, the full moon has cleansing power, so taking a bath on the day of or the night of the full moon brings about a more intentional energy of cleansing, and it cleanses your spirit, it cleanses your mind, it cleanses your heart. You have to set that intention. While I'm taking my full moon bath, I like to journal, and this is my way of reflecting. You don't have to reflect the way I do. You might just want to sit in the bathtub and think. That's perfectly fine. You might want to sit in the bathtub and meditate. Also perfectly fine. There is no right way to do any of this. I'm just giving you guys my tidbits, right? How I like to reflect is by first looking at all of the things that I've accomplished up until this point. So from the new moon phase all the way to the full moon phase, that whole lunar cycle, what have I accomplished? Sometimes we're moving so fast, we don't take time to pat ourselves on the back, congratulate ourselves, celebrate ourselves, and that is very vital. Oftentimes, we want to be celebrated by other people, but that show of action should really be coming from ourselves. We have to celebrate ourselves, because if nobody else does it, we're going to be down in the dumps. It's really not anybody else's job or responsibility to congratulate us or do anything else for us. It's nice, and that's why when people do it, it's so greatly appreciated. But those things have to come from self. It has to come from within. So I like to stop and take time to congratulate myself, to look at all that I've accomplished, even if it's small accomplishments, even if it's something as small as I started waking up earlier to do X, Y, and Z, or I started meal prepping, or something big and huge like getting a new job or graduating or starting school or whatever. It could even be something like, oh my God, I got through that phase of depression. Things that seem insignificant or small or day to day, but are not really, you know what I'm saying? Let's reflect on our accomplishments. With reflecting on our accomplishments, you can also reflect on the things that you would like to release and cleanse from yourself. Because like I said, the full moon energy has a very healing and cleansing power to it. You can reflect on things or think about things and write down things that you want to heal from. Because the full moon has the power and energy of ending of cycles, you can use that energy to put an end to the cycle of whatever you'd like to heal from. You can use that energy to put an end to the cycle of the pain that you're experiencing. But you have to be intentional. You cannot just wish upon a star. Remember, I said that. You have to pray it and set your intentions to make it so. I also want to talk about some of the ways and tools that you can use to amplify your spiritual baths, like candles, crystals, herbs, and things like that. But that'll take a whole nother episode. That'll take a whole nother episode. Like I said, you guys are always more than welcome to hit me up, DM me. If you know me personally, hit me up on my phone, and we can talk about it. But yeah, that's the full moon in a nutshell. And so, after the full moon, after we've done our rituals and after we've done our reflecting and meditating and letting go of and cleansing, it's time to again prepare for a new lunar cycle. And that puts us right back at the new moon, a full circle. Okay? I really hope that resonated with you all, and I hope that I gave you guys some kind of idea of where to start on how you can begin working with moon phases as far as manifesting and healing and all of the above. And closing, I'm really feeling the push from spirit for me to tell you all to pray more. I don't know why. And that message is for me too. But we need to pray more. And if you don't pray at all, start to pray and do it diligently. I know we've been super busy trying to accomplish goals and make this year count. And oh my God, we've all been pounding it out. I'm so very proud of me. I'm so very proud of all of y'all. But let's remember to take time to sit in the quiet and pray. Okay? As always, I love you guys so much, so big and so deep. And I love you guys for your support. And I love you guys for your feedback. And I love you guys for all of the beautiful words of encouragement that you give me all the time concerning my podcast and my spiritual walk. Oh my God, you guys have no idea. I love you, I love you, I love you. And always, always, always remember, you are divine as fuck.